Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to the Western Shore. You know, you're never too smart to learn something. You can learn something, well, you can always learn something. It's still the first day of winter, and I got a comment from somebody. Last video for 17 now, and we do have 19 going as well, so I'll clarify whether we're talking about the last 17 video or the last 19 video. Our last video for 17, I said it's wintertime, and I don't have anything to do in the winter, so I'm just going to speed through. And I got a comment from somebody saying, oh no, there's a ton of stuff to do on farms in the winter, and they laid some things out for me. So we're going to do those things. We're going to take these two tanks, not both of them today. We're just going to take one up today. But we're going to take these two field tanks up and put them at strategic locations near Bramble Lane. And I'll tell you why we're going to do that as we get rolling. Break off, and I don't think we need four-wheel drive or differentials locked in as we get rolling. Here we go. So here's why we're going to do this. We did empty out the BGA pit. We have plenty of money now. You can see we're on 234,000. Carefully. Oh, this is tight. We may scrape that hedge. Maybe. Beautiful. But we're also on, I think, almost 300,000 liters of digestate down at the BGA. We are going to use that. The most that we can hold in the tanker is 30,000. I mean, the transport tanker, not the spraying tanker, is 30,000. And the sprayer that we use, the spreader that we use, holds, let's call it 15,000. So that means we could get 2 sprays per trip of the tanker. What I'd rather do is take these tanks up, put them somewhere on the farm, and then spend the rest of the winter filling them. Because we'll be able to fill both of them. They're 55,000 liters apiece, and we'll get both these full. I mean, we're going to lease the lorry, so we should probably do that in one day rather than leasing it and keeping that truck all winter. But you see what I'm getting at. That we want to have a place where we could just go to with our slurry spreader, our digestate spreader in this case, and just top off repeatedly as we're working. So I think this makes sense. And then the other thing we're going to do when we get to Bramble Lane is I have a leased Smith. Oh, is it the Cube trailer? I don't want to tell you the wrong name, but it's a Smith trailer. And the reason we lease that is none of the trailers that we have, our Larrington silage trailer, will not accept manure, and we need to haul some manure. What we're going to do is take manure from the pit out to the fields and dump it out there, and I'm told that is something else that you can do in the wintertime, is get that manure moved out to your fields where you can then spread it in the spring. So we may not get to filling these tanks today. Come on now, we got this. We may not get to filling these tanks, but I at least wanted to get one of them placed. And yeah, I hadn't even thought about this as far as things to do in the winter, but there's plenty of stuff to do. So thank you for that comment. I do appreciate the comments, and I do appreciate the way this community, I mean, for one thing, and it could be the nature of the game, that there's nobody's shooting, nobody's killing anybody, there's no teabagging, and I think that makes it easier for the community to, to be nice, because it's a really nice, kind of pleasant activity. We're just growing food, growing crops, feeding people, taking care of the environment, and that's all good stuff. Versus other games where the community is maybe a little bit more aggressive toward one another. All right, here's our Bramble Lane risk. Can we get up here before we get any traffic? So yeah, super nice community, and I really do appreciate the comments, and I really do appreciate being told, this is how it happens on a real farm, this is what you do in the winter, that sort of stuff. I love it. Keep them coming. So we'll get these placed. We'll get one of them placed today. We'll get that manure dropped off. And the next episode, I guess, will be... next episode, we can drop off more manure. We can start filling these tanks. I don't know. We'll think of something. And we have enough money to buy fields now. And we're going to do that. I've been looking at fields. And when we get this tank dropped off, we'll go over the ones that I'm thinking about getting. And you know what? We don't even have to get them today. Tell you what, we'll talk about the fields that I'm thinking about, and if you're of a mind to, give me your feedback on those purchases in the comments, and we'll go with the ones that make the most sense. I'll tell you the ones that make sense to me, You tell me the ones that make sense to you. We'll go that way. So yeah, we've got 60,000 liters of slurry in the tank at Bramble Lane right now. We'll probably have, I'd say half again as much. Oh, scrape. Half again as much by spring, by the time we start applying slurry. So call that at least 100,000. And then these are 55,000 apiece. And I know it seems a bit odd that we would have a field tank when we're just a couple hundred yards from the slurry pit at the farm, but that's not what I'm worried about getting to. That for that fill point, we can just drive into the yard at the farm and fill our spreader there. I'm worried about heading all the way down to the BGA, which amazingly you can see off there in the distance. I love the sight lines on this map. So good. Such a beautiful map. Yeah, I'm worried about making trips back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to the BGA. Now, we don't have to buy pellet fertilizer, but we do have to lease a truck. And leasing that truck, I want to say, is probably 30,000. So it's I mean, we save some money, but we have to spend a little bit too. So I want to be mindful of how much fertilizer we're not going to have to buy, but that we handle the process of using the digestate from the BGA in a way where we actually do benefit from it financially. So I think, now tell me if I'm wrong here, I wanted to put this on a high point. My understanding would be that you would bring your spreader to this empty, right? Which means you would be heading uphill with an empty tanker. And then from here, it's all downhill, as they say. It's all downhill, so it would make more sense to put this here than to put it at the bottom of a hill. And you know what? Let's see if we can get this in closer to the fence. Try to make the most of our space here and get just a little bit more grass. I mean, that's not that many square feet of grass that we lose under the footprint of this field tank, but just the same. Let's put it as close as we can to the fence so we can mow right up next to it. All right, so right about there. And we drop it. Beautiful. Okay. Is that... Am I seeing that bouncing and moving, sir? All right. Okay. It just needed to find its home. It just needed to get settled. And now it is. Okay. Beautiful. So we will... Let's take our first load of manure. Where do we want to take it? I guess, well, there's something to think about. Okay, something to think about, because, again, in the interest of efficiency, when we spread hard manure with the hard manure mod, we can get a perk for that, and it counts as 2 layers. But only if we plow or cultivate. So we would want to put it on one of the new fields that we buy as an arable field rather than on a grass field. If we put it on a grass field, we'll only get the single layer, right? And we've got plenty of slurry and digestate for our grass fields. Okay, so maybe we will buy a field this episode. I don't know. I'll tell you what, there's one that I'm very confident about, and there's another one, not so much. So let's buy the one that we know about, and then we can talk about which other ones we buy. And we've got enough money. These fields are like 40,000, 50,000, so we don't need to... We're not going to break the bank if we just buy a single field today. We'll still have plenty of money left over. And we've still got a little bit of cap room left on our loan. I don't see a circumstance where we would have to do that, dip into the financing again. I think we'll be okay, but it's there if we need it. And I don't think we're going to buy that Case Puma. I like it. I really do. But I think it just might not be quite the time for it yet. And if we bring in the same amount of grass for silage next year, we'll make another 600,000, which is plenty of money to buy that tractor and many, many more fields. All right, so if we go up here, is it this one? Moment, please. No, it's this one. Carefully back up here. Go back this way. Yeah, it's right up here. So, and you know what, we can actually touch on that topic right now. We have 7 grass fields. We get approximately 700,000 liters per cut. So that works out to, just to keep the math simple, we'll call it 100,000 liters of grass per field. I think I'm going to turn field 50 and 51 into arable. And those are the fields that would be then next to field 49. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Because we don't need that much grass, and I do want to diversify a little bit. So this is field 5-5. I wouldn't say that it's flat, but it's certainly less hilly than a lot of other fields on this map. It's on Bramble Lane, right? And when we leave here, if we want to, we can just go out, make a left turn at the bottom of the hill, and come back over, back to Bramble Lane that way. So we don't necessarily have to back all the way up from here, which is more or less the pig farm. We don't have to back up from here, back up Bramble Lane to the farm. We can just make kind of a quick loop. Let's see how much this one is. It is 29,000. I mean, that's almost a no-brainer. That's going to leave us still north of 200,000. Okay. So now, when we come back here with our manure, and again, this isn't that much of a hill, but I would say let's go ahead and dump the manure up here so that we're loading up full. We're coming up to our manure pile empty, and then from our manure pile when we leave, we have nowhere to go but down. So we don't necessarily need to worry about traction or slipping or that sort of thing. Okay, cool. So now, yeah, this is where we build our empire. Let me go here. Yep. And then the other ones that I'm thinking about, and we don't need to visit them, I can just tell them to you here, would be 64 and 63, which is on this little cutoff lane. But again, we'll be looping around here. So when we leave Bramble Lane right now to go back to the farm to get our tipper of manure, we're going to go out onto the highway and then around and up, so we won't be going back all this way. I know it's probably going to be okay, and there are areas to pull over. I just want to try to do it the right way. So we've got 63 and 64, which would be all in a line with these fields, or we could do 62, which we can go over and look at right now, and potentially even 61. So we would either have fields going up this little lane here, or fields going up Bramble Lane proper, both on the east side and on the west side of the tracks. So I'll show you 61 and 62 now. Let me know what you think of that plan. And we will have 2 more arable fields. We're going to convert 2 grass fields to arable, regardless of which arable fields we buy, right? That we buy. They're already arable fields. We would buy those. But then 2 grass fields get converted either way. So we will have, come on now. There we go. So we will have 5 grass fields in the spring. And a minimum of, because we have 1, 2, 3 arable fields at the moment, plus 2 converted. So we would have 5 and 5 in the spring if we don't buy anything else. And this is 62 right there to our left. Fairly flat, bit of a grade in the back, but fairly flat. And then on the other side of the train tracks here, we've got 6-1, which is, I would say that is almost completely flat. A little bit of a rise out to the west there. So let me know what your thoughts are on any of those fields. But they are going to stay arable. All right, so we'll make our turn here. And I'm also curious how, save game, I'm also curious how long it takes us to get around this little, I don't know what you want to call this. I mean, it's not entirely legit, because after we cut up the lane here, we're going to take a left turn up the lane. We'll still come out on the Bramble Lane and have to drive against traffic for a couple hundred yards. But I would rather do it for a couple hundred yards than like half a mile. It just feels too long. And I do appreciate the way the map has been constructed and that little detail has been included just to, I don't know, just to give you another challenge, just to give you something to think about. And we can certainly turn traffic off, but I don't want to. I like the added difficulty. Right, so this is... no, this is 9-0 on our right here. So right here is... This is field 6-3 on our right. This is one that I've been thinking about. Got a little bit more of a slope to it, I have to say, and it's a little bigger. Got that one, and then coming over the rise here. Other side of the dog leg, we got field 6-4. Right there. And again, a little bit more grade to it, a little bit more slope. Alright, so that would be another one for us. But it's a pretty big field. I don't know, they're all simultaneously deceptively big and deceptively small. It's weird. It's a neat trick of the light, trick of the perspective that this map gives you, where the fields from some angles seem very small and from other angles seem very big. But those are all the ones that I'm considering. And I do want to kind of keep it in the neighborhood. I had thought for a minute maybe we could buy some fields out by Seaview Farm, but I'd rather keep it in the neighborhood. All right, time, 16 minutes. Whoa, don't drive off the road. 16 minutes, we got this. And I'm trying to think what else is going on, what else has happened since the last episode. Yeah, I think that's about it. No real new developments. God, I'm loving this map. I really, really am. It's got to be one of my favorite maps ever. Although, I just posted it, a couple hours ago. I don't normally record and post the same day. I had recorded Oakfield for you in FS17, and it was uploaded. I was getting ready to switch it from private to public when I saw that Sandy Bay had dropped, and I guess that's a map that people have been looking forward to, so I went ahead and recorded that quickly, rendered it quickly, and uploaded it same day. And like I said, I don't normally do that. So that happened on Monday morning. It's now Monday afternoon. I'm recording this, and you'll see it on Tuesday. But the response to Sandy Bay is already very nice, so I appreciate that, and based on the views and the likes and the general response to it, it seems like that's a map that you want to see more of. So we'll go ahead and do a series on that. It looks like just a fun map as well. And, you know, I kind of want to play 19. It's not perfect. In some ways, it's really almost kind of a different game than 17. I mean, it's obviously Farming Simulator, and it's made by the same developer, and it's, you know, it's all that. But in its own way, it is kind of a different game. So I wanted to bring that back to the channel, bring 19 back to the channel. I just didn't want to let go of it entirely. And I'm glad we found Sandy Bay to do that with. So thank you for the response. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your subs. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your likes. And what I'd like to do to show my appreciation is never ask you to like, subscribe, or share. You know that's my policy. You're grown-ups. You know how to work the YouTubes. If you like something, you know how to drop a like. I'm never going to ask you to do that. Personally, I hate that. I find it very condescending. Don't tell me what to like. Don't tell me who to vote for. So, thank you for the likes just the same. And I will take that as an indication that you do want to see more of it. All right, we'll take this down. We'll drop it off. And I will repeat this process. I think we have, this is 25,000 in this trailer. I think we have about 60, 70,000 in the pit left over. So at least 2 more of these, and we can take these to various places around the map. Next episode, let's start converting those fields, those 2 grass fields, and what we can do. Let's do that. I didn't want to dump manure on a grass field. So what we'll do, there's 2 gates. There are 2 gates, okay. So what we'll do is we will convert one of those fields, or begin converting one of those fields from grass to arable. And once we have the grass folded under, then we can dump manure on the surface of it and not feel like I'm wasting it. Let's do this too. Let's be good citizens. All right, so we'll open this like so. Opens in. Beautiful. We don't need this anymore. Hop right back in here. Brake is off. Swing it a little wide. There we are. And we'll take this right up top. Turn those off. That's very, I don't know. I don't want to say funny. That's not the right word for it. But I see that little kids play set and a little toy mower in the yard there. And I think, yeah, somewhere in the UK right now, there is a little family home on the edge of a farmer field. And kids play in that yard as tractors are working and farmers are doing farmer stuff. What a pleasant way to live. I mean, it certainly seems like it. Maybe it isn't in real life, but it just seems very chill, you know, to be out in the countryside, out in farm country, away from traffic, away from the city. Seems that way. Okay, so we go here, and then we want unload here. Certainly do. All right. And that's it. There's your pile of poo on the field. And we will... Is that it? That's it. We will repeat this next episode at one of our converted grass fields. And I guess we'll have the T-dub. Yeah, let's put the T-dub on a subsoiler and have them plow under that grass, or subsoil under that grass. Okay, that works. And what was the other thing? Oh, I want to be careful about that. I know on, I don't remember. It was one of the maps that we were on. Gazelsberg. We converted some fields to grass, we converted them back, and at some point the grass texture sort of became connected to the entire map as a whole, and if we try to use courseplay, when it detects that field, it just goes to pieces. So I believe those fields are crop grass, which means we can just hit them with the subsoiler. We don't need to use any create fields or anything else. We can just go around the edge of the field, and it will automatically preserve the meadow grass on the verge and plow under the crop grass. But I want to be careful with that so that we maintain the ability to use courseplay on those fields. Right, I think that's it. Where are we at on time? 23 minutes, perfect. That all worked out, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is the Western Shore. We'll see you next time. Take care now.